live, and
Oh, you don't have to say where it is.
I'm not going to say where it is. But some of that is like going in and watching some of these trials. Not trials, but motions and some of the things that do happen in federal court.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was like, what is he doing there? So I don't know anything about that, but that's fine. Like, I don't know how much do you want to talk about that? I would assume you don't want to
I
talk
mean, I
too much
posted a picture of it on my Twitter. It was Texas Gun Rights and National Association for Gun Rights versus the ATF on force reset triggers. We went in and we won that lawsuit. We got a preliminary injunction, and all of our members are protected to have force reset triggers and pistol braces. Very successful. The ATF didn't really know anything about firearms. We won. Judge O'Connor agreed.
Has it surprised you that government agencies in charge of regulating something tend to not know anything about it?
No.
So that wasn't a surprise to you?
No.
Have you always hated government as much as I do?
Hello.
I'm not going to comment on that, Nick.
Hang on,
I kid.
Right. We may have to restart this. We may have to restart this. Let me make sure Rumble's working right.
Yes, that is an interesting sort of branch, though. Is where did you, when did you start to see what I'll call it just a simple lack
I started
of
early. Apparently,
maybe
that's an
faith
issue
in
with
government
Rumble.
competence in regulation? That's a safe way to put that, right?
Let's wait till 11:45.
Well, the government has a motive, and they also have a job to do. Their job is to protect the people of the United States. Sometimes they fail to do that job. Sometimes they don't. They're human, and we aren't perfect.
We're good.
Right.
But when you see these things happening to where they're just making stuff up, like I don't even know where they get half of this stuff, and it's just made up. It makes you think. Like,
Right.
these are the people that are supposed to be
What do you
protecting
mean,
our
where's
rights and
Doc?
representing us.
And it's so you're talking about the pistol brace and the force reset triggers. And I guess part of the, if people aren't aware, like part of the confusion is that ATF was able to just go ahead and call those firearms. Like they're not, like they get classified as this particular category of firearms. They don't meet the definition that's laid out in the Gun Control Act, but they just have this, they have this ability to say, well, we are experts on this, so here's what they are.
I mean, you had the ATF director, if you've watched some of his testimonies against Congress, where he says, I'm not a firearms expert, but this is what the opinion is. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's like, how are you ATF director and not a firearms expert? Like, you could find like a liberal firearms expert, I get. I mean, they presumably exist, is what I'm saying. So you could find someone who could be an expert on firearms and still like have a policy direction that goes with whatever the administration wants, right? Like, you can figure that out.
Why is Rumble not working? We'll wait till 11:45. If Rumble isn't working by then we're going to reset this. I want to be able to stream this on at least Rumble and the alt streams. Rumble especially. I don't know why Rumble's. I haven't had an issue with Rumble in forever. Well,
Like I don't know how else to analogize that, but you'd think they could do that. But I mean, you went through it one way and you went through it the hard way. Like, right.
Hey, Anna.
You're crawling through the muck, and now you're like
I'm also going to do this on
Does
Discord.
it change your perspective on the court system?
Oh, absolutely. I am very strong on the Constitution. I believe the law was written for a reason by our founding fathers, and they were very intentional when they wrote the Constitution. And I see a lot of what's been written not being followed through. We see a lot of censorship. We see a lot of rights being stripped away. We see First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fifth Amendment rights, if you saw in my case, just being taken. Like, they don't honor that anymore. Thank God I had a constitutionalist judge who was able to admonish the prosecution for going into for the state going into my Fifth Amendment rights and my right to remain silent, which I encourage everybody to do if you're ever charged with a crime, no matter what it is. Always invoke the Fifth.
But you didn't. You
because that's the
testified.
smartest thing you can do.
It really is, and it's so uncomfortable for people because, well, let me ask you this: you invoked your right to the Fifth, pretty much from the get-go. But how badly did you want to just tell your story, though? Like that's.
Right? Oh, I really wanted to tell my story. I wanted to talk to somebody about what happened.
That's the hardest thing. Like you just want to tell someone why what you did wasn't wrong. And that's everybody goes through that. And that's why it's so freaking hard to get people to just not talk to the police or anybody else.
I mean, I support law enforcement. They do a hard job, but at the end of the day, their job is to build a case against you. They're not your friend.
I 100% agree. I've said so many of these things. It's great, but I'm not saying you got them from me. Don't take that the wrong way. It's just like, it's nice to see.
Got them from you, Nick.
Oh, okay, fine. But no, that's the, that's the whole purpose. And once you realize that purpose, you go, okay, well, no, they can just do their job and they can do it. It's not even the hard way. It's just the way. But now, there is a point, if you want to talk about this, if you don't, it's fine. But there is a point where you decided not to keep up your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, right? Like you testified on your behalf.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to reset this.
Right to tell my story.
Apparently,
I was ready to tell my story. I didn't just get hit in the head 4 times. My head was clear.
I never have an issue with Rumble, but apparently I have an issue with it now.
In an effective way that didn't hurt me, if that makes sense.
Right. No, and I think it was.
I'm gonna end this and then restart it on Rumble anyway.
A lot of us watching, of course, if you watch back, you saw we weren't sure if that was the right move at all.
Yeah, there was times of it to where you guys were worried about my testimony. In the end, we figured out that was the best. And as I've told you before, a lot of people may have thought it was stupid when I took the stand because we had all the evidence, but we did 3 mock trials. Same day, 2 juries heard me testify. 1 jury did not. The jury who didn't hear me testify wasn't able to reach a verdict. The juries who did hear me testify was outright not guilty on both panels.
Yeah,
well, you know what? Kick.
That's great
we'll
having that jury research, and
apparently it'll roll over to Rumble.
That can make the decision right there. And
you know what?
Answers a lot of people's questions.
This is what we're gonna do because this is important to me and to many other people. I'm gonna play this on YouTube, and if it cuts off on YouTube, I will be on Discord. I'm gonna get the Discord channel ready. Let me send you guys the link. Because they're going to cut us off on YouTube. We'll be on Kick. We'll be on DLive. Be on YouTube. I'm going to try and keep up with all the chats because the only chats I can see is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Or let me ask you. Do you want me to reset this? Because it shouldn't be an issue on Rumble.
Questions, but should
I reset it and then do it on Rumble? Because I really want to do this. I've watched part of it. I watched half of it actually. This is a good movie. All I have is yes. Chopper. Hey, Luke. That's awesome. That's a good idea. All right. Let me add Luke. Edit. DOCNation. I still got to restart it to do that. Hang on. Let me see. Okay. Am I live on DOCNation? Hey, Manny. Good to see you, Luke.
Big worry that we all had is like, it's I do want to get into this transition from you being a media person, right?
All right, we're gonna
because
start
you're a
on
media
both.
target. From the
Apparently,
time of the
yeah.
shooting through the trial, you're a media target, and then afterwards you're a media target. But you're also now like a social media person. Like that's part of your personality. You have to go around. Right now, you've got this book that I want to get into right after this, but you've got this book. And
Yeah,
you're
I'm
doing
having this
interviews,
work
like you're on my
Rumble
show,
now.
but you're on Piers Morgan, right? Like the
Well.
biggest guy around. I don't want to be too mean to Piers, but no, you're going on these huge
Why
shows
is
as
Rumble
well,
not
and
working?
so that's part of what you do.
I really want to
How
restart
has that
this.
transition been to being the an incidental media?
All right, I have another restart. 11:55. We're restarting. I apologize. I really want to do this on Rumble because I want to see how accepting Rumble is with this, and then we'll go from there. I apologize. I'm going to end this, and then I'm going to go right back online. Sorry. Not sorry. I'll be right back.